construction, we have Jesus' synagogue where all the miracles took place. Right here we have a late 4th century synagogue. And if we take you just a little bit to connect you, this is a great place to connect the roots of Christianity in the Jewish traditions, because there is a lot of that, which is quite often ignored. It so became with the growth of the denominational churches. But Capernaum maybe is a good example, because you come up here, you get into a synagogue, which is a name for a house of prayer for the Jewish people. But there is Hebrew, which is the basis for all those names. Bethlehem is the house of bread. Bethsaida, house of hunt. Beit Knesset is the synagogue, the house of gathering. So interestingly enough, the word for church, Iglesia in Hebrew, is Knessia. Can you hear Knesset, Knessia, Knesset, Knessia, the very same root, the very same meaning of the word? And the differences were made by traditions of men. So Jesus came from that background. He said that the Gentiles that became a part of the kingdom do not have to become Jewish. They have to do their thing. But the place of worship is where 2 or 3 of you are gathering in His name. And whether it's Beit Knesset or Knessia, it doesn't really matter. The matter is the heart of the person that is in there. Anyway, the Beit Knesset itself, if you look over there, see the gates coming in. In the 4th century, they were pretty well to do. So those pillars in the back represent the 2nd floor foundations. I mean, they are supporting the 2nd floor. And what happened in the 2nd floor? How many of you have seen Jewish tradition in action? Anybody? Do you know that in Orthodox Judaism they separate between men and women in prayer? It's not very much like that in the States, in the Reform movement, which everything is like a church, but in most of Israel and most of the world, there is separation. Quite often, if the synagogue is small, they just have a veil separating. If it's a big one like this, they have them on the 2nd floor. Now, the concept there is modesty. But in modern day, we get a lot of women's lib concepts saying, no, are we less good? We have to be separated from the men and be in the back or behind or upstairs. Quite often I will address the ladies and say, no, because you're better. And you need to keep your eyes watched over the wheat vessel down here below. Plus, you can imagine when we will be in Jerusalem and you'll see the Jewish people praying at the wall, the Orthodox ones, with all their black clothing, they always do like this, they daven. And the concept of this is to keep the utmost focus. You're focused about what you're doing. And you can imagine if the Jewish man is doing this.
And women.
Nice legs. So in order to protect that man, they put the ladies up there so he can be completely devout in his prayer. Another change today from the synagogue to the church that you're used to is this place is a house of prayer. You don't come to the synagogue to have celebrations and feasts and weddings. Here you come to pray. If you want to have all your fun, you can do it afterwards in the secondary room, which you would call back home fellowship hall possibly. Here they would call it the house of study, which weekdays is hosting the rabbinical students to study the word. And on weekends or in celebrations, they would have the bar mitzvah boy doing his reception, maybe the bridal as well. But here you do the actual prayer. So that's a few words connecting synagogue, church, and just some information for you to digest. Any questions? No? So let's continue. We're going to sneak out this